Silence isn't weakness, it's power. Your presence should speak before your mouth does. Real strength walks in without noise. In a loud world, stillness stands out. There comes a point in life when you realize that not everything deserves your voice. You start to understand that silence is not a weakness, it's a strategy, a form of self-mastery. It's a declaration of strength without having to raise your tone. You begin to notice that the loudest people in the room are often the most uncertain, trying to fill the silence with noise just to feel seen. But your silence carries weight. It speaks for you when words can't. It holds space for your truth without needing validation. It becomes your greatest weapon in a world that demands a reaction to every insult, every misunderstanding, every moment of disrespect. Real power doesn't shout. It doesn't beg for recognition or clap back at every provocation. It remains still. It watches. It observes. It listens deeply. And in that stillness, it speaks louder than anyone yelling for attention ever could. When you choose silence over chaos, you take control. You don't get dragged into other people's storms. You remain the calm. That calm becomes your signature. That stillness becomes your armor. Because the truth is, people are watching you. They're testing your energy. They want to know what gets to you. And when they realize that you can't be shaken by noise, you become untouchable. Silence gives you space to think clearly, to observe without reacting, to respond with wisdom rather than emotion. It's not about running away or avoiding confrontation. It's about choosing what's worthy of your energy. You start to learn that you don't owe anyone an explanation for your peace. You don't have to justify your growth. You don't have to prove your worth in places that never saw it to begin with. The moment you stop explaining yourself to people who already made up their mind about you is the moment you reclaim your power. There's something incredibly powerful about being unbothered. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence, people take notice. They may not understand it, but they'll feel it. Because silence isn't empty, it's full of energy. It's filled with restraint, with dignity, with purpose. It shows maturity. It shows you've outgrown the need to argue just to be right. It shows you value your peace more than your pride. And that level of discipline, that's rare, that's magnetic. People gravitate toward it, not because you're performing for them, but because your energy is real. When you walk into a room and you don't need to say a word, but everyone knows you've arrived, that's the kind of presence silence creates. You become the person who doesn't have to announce anything. You just move. You just do the work. You build quietly. You heal privately. You grow silently. And then, one day, they look up and realize you became everything they thought you couldn't, without ever having to explain how. That's the beauty of silence. It protects your focus. It amplifies your results. And when you finally speak, your words carry more power, because you don't speak from a place of reaction. You speak from a place of intention. Your silence taught you how to be strategic. It trained your spirit to listen. And now when you move with precision. Not to prove anything, but because you know exactly who you are. That's what silence does. It gives you back to yourself. So the next time someone misunderstands you, disrespects you, or tries to provoke a reaction, remember this. You don't have to say a word. Let your energy speak. Let your growth speak. Let your life speak. Because in the end, the world doesn't respond to noise, it responds to presence. And your silence, when grounded in strength, becomes the loudest statement you'll ever make. Before you ever speak a single word, your energy walks in ahead of you. It speaks on your behalf. It tells people who you are, what you stand for, and whether or not they should take you seriously. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for introductions. It arrives before your voice, before your smile, before your handshake. And whether you realize it or not, the moment you step into a room, people start to read that energy. They feel it. They react to it. They remember it. That's why your energy must be aligned with who you truly are, because it's always speaking, even in silence. You can try to fake confidence with your words, but your energy will always reveal the truth. You can say you're fine, say you're strong, say you're confident, but if your energy says otherwise, that's what people will believe. Energy doesn't lie. It's raw, it's real, and it's rooted in what you tell yourself when no one else is around. That's why mastering your energy starts within. It's in the way you speak to yourself in the dark moments, in how you carry yourself when you feel unseen, in how you bounce back when life knocks you down. That inner world shapes your outer presence. Think about it. How many times have you walked into a space and instantly felt either drawn to someone or pushed away from them? You couldn't explain it, but something about their presence either lifted the room or drained it. That's energy. That's the invisible language we all speak and respond to, whether we're conscious of it or not. And the same way you feel others, they feel you. That's why alignment is everything. If you want to influence people, if you want to inspire, lead, or even just be taken seriously, you must learn to carry yourself with intentional energy. It's not about being loud or putting on a show. It's about being grounded. When you're grounded in who you are, your energy becomes undeniable. It no longer needs to convince, it simply is. And that kind of energy shifts atmospheres. It commands respect without demanding it. It brings peace to chaos. It creates space for others to be real, simply because you are real. When you walk into a room aligned mind, body, and spirit, it's impossible to ignore you. Not because you said something, but because you didn't need to. Your posture, your gaze, your stillness, all of it contributes to your energetic signature. Are you walking in with doubt or with certainty? Are you shrinking to fit in or standing in your truth? Are you hiding behind noise or moving with clarity? These are the silent messages your energy sends before you say anything. And when you become aware of this, you begin to take more responsibility for how you show up. You stop leaving it to chance. You stop leaking energy in environments that don't deserve it. You stop over-explaining, over-apologizing, and over-compensating. You start aligning. And when you're aligned, everything starts to shift. People treat you differently. Opportunities feel drawn to you, not because you're trying harder, but because you're radiating differently. You're carrying something real. And in a world full of pretense, that's rare. That's magnetic. That's unforgettable. So before you worry about saying the right thing, before you obsess over how to present yourself outwardly, pause and ask, what is my energy saying? What am I communicating before I even open my mouth? Because if you can master that, if you can align your energy with your purpose, with your truth, with your identity, then your presence alone will open doors your words never could. Your energy is your introduction. Make it powerful, make it intentional, make it true. In a world obsessed with performance, presence has become a lost art. We've been conditioned to believe we have to constantly entertain, impress, or prove ourselves to be worthy of attention. We think louder means stronger, busier means more valuable, and being seen means we must always be doing something. But real power isn't in performance, it's in presence. You don't need to beg to be noticed. You don't need to bend over backward to be accepted. When you're rooted in who you are, when your spirit is still and your confidence is internal, your presence speaks for itself. Presence doesn't ask for applause. It doesn't chase validation. It doesn't need a stage or a spotlight. It simply exists, and in its stillness it holds weight. People feel it. They may not know why, but when someone truly embodies presence, the room shifts. There's a calmness, a gravity, a quiet strength that doesn't need to explain itself. It doesn't try to be more than it just is. That's the kind of presence that turns heads without trying. That's the kind of presence that commands respect without trying. That's the kind of presence that commands respect without saying a word. Too often we confuse performance for value. We think if we're not constantly talking, moving, entertaining, or proving, we're not enough. But that's a lie rooted in insecurity. When you're secure in yourself, you don't need to perform. You no longer live for external validation. You stop playing roles to fit in. You stop adjusting your truth to be liked. You stop wearing masks just to survive. Instead, you begin to show up fully, honestly, and consistently with presence, not performance. True presence is rooted in self-awareness and self-trust. It's knowing your worth even when no one claps. It's being grounded enough to let silence do the talking. It's the courage to be still in a world that's always rushing, always loud, always looking for the next show. And the more you embrace that stillness, the more people feel your depth. They see you, not for the character you play, but for the truth you embody. That's where the power lives. People remember those who made them feel something real, not those who tried to impress them. And presence does that. It cuts through the noise. It leaves an imprint. It creates connection without needing to convince. That's why some of the most powerful people aren't the ones who speak the most or move the loudest. They're the ones who walk into a room with quiet certainty, calm energy, and unwavering truth. They don't perform because they don't need to. Their presence says it all. You were never meant to audition for love, for acceptance, for recognition. You don't have to prove your value by being something you're not. You are not a show. You are not a character. You are a force. And when you learn to trust that force, when you stop performing and start embodying, you'll notice how differently the world responds to you. Doors open, people listen. Respect finds you, not because you begged for it, but because your presence earned it without trying. So stop trying to be impressive, be real, be still, be rooted. The most captivating people are those who are fully themselves, unapologetically, consistently, and calmly. They don't chase attention, they draw it. They don't perform for love, they radiate love from within. They don't need to be loud, their presence speaks volumes. Your power is not in how much you do, but in how deeply you are. Show up with presence, not performance. Let your truth carry the weight. And watch how the world begins to respect what you no longer feel the need to prove. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every insult requires a comeback. Not every disrespect needs your reaction. In a world where people are quick to respond, quick to defend, and quick to retaliate, there's a quiet strength in restraint. There's power in not reacting, in choosing stillness over chaos, in letting your actions become the loudest statement you make. Because when you move in discipline, in growth, and in silence, results speak louder than words ever could. Some people provoke you just to get a reaction. They feed off your energy. They want to pull you into their storm so they can distract you from your path. But when you respond with silence and continue building, you frustrate them more than any insult ever could. Your refusal to engage becomes the power move. Your success becomes the reply. And your evolution becomes the proof that their opinions never mattered in the first place. You don't need to argue with people beneath your vision. You don't need to explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to justify your journey to those who've never walked a mile in your shoes. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them mock. Because while they waste time throwing stones, you're busy laying bricks. You're building something they can't tear down because it's rooted in purpose, not pride. Every time you choose growth over reaction, you win. Every time you choose to keep showing up despite the noise, you win. Every time you put your head down and let your results do the talking, you win. Because results don't lie. Progress doesn't need defending. And discipline has a language that everyone eventually understands success. The best revenge is not a clapback. It's not proving them wrong with words. It's proving them irrelevant with results. It's building the life they said you couldn't. It's becoming the person they never believed you would. Not because you need to satisfy your ego, but because your spirit deserves to rise above the pettiness. You're not here to win arguments. You're here to win at life. Think about the people you admire. The ones who move with quiet certainty. The ones who stay calm under pressure, focused under fire, and grounded in truth. They don't waste time explaining themselves. They don't fight battles that don't matter. They let their discipline, their character, and their results speak on their behalf. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. Not because you're afraid, but because you're above it. You've got bigger goals. You've got a mission. And that mission requires your energy, your time, your focus, not your reaction. Reactions drain you. Discipline builds you. And every time you choose the latter, you get stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them gossip. Let them expect your downfall. Just don't let it shake you. Don't let it distract you. Stay consistent. Stay focused. Keep building. And soon, the same people who try to pull you down will have to look up to see you. This is how you win. Not through noise, not through drama, but through quiet consistency, through daily discipline, through unshakable focus. Let your work talk. Let your growth be the conversation. Let your peace be the reply. Because at the end of the day, words fade, but results remain. And nothing silences critics faster than undeniable success. Before you speak a single word, your body has already said a lot. The way you walk, stand, and look at the world tells people everything they need to know about you. Confidence isn't always loud. It often shows itself in silence, through your posture, through your eyes, through the calm strength you carry. When you walk into a room like you belong there, people take notice. They may not understand why, but they feel something. That something is presence, and it starts with how you carry yourself. Posture isn't just physical, it's psychological. When you stand tall, shoulders back, head up, spine straight, you send a message, not only to others but to yourself. You're telling the world, I'm here, I matter, and I'm not shrinking. Your body language reinforces your self-image. If you walk around slouched and withdrawn, you reinforce insecurity. But if you walk tall, you signal strength, to others and to your own mind. Eye contact is no less powerful. Looking someone in the eyes with calm, steady confidence doesn't just show you're present, it commands attention. It tells people you're aware, grounded, and unafraid. Eye contact creates connection, but more importantly, it reveals inner security. You don't need to stare or intimidate, but simply holding someone's gaze with purpose makes a statement. It says, "I'm not running, I'm not hiding, I stand on truth." People treat you based on the cues you give them. If you walk into a room hesitantly, eyes low, posture weak, they subconsciously place you in a lesser position. But when you enter with calm assurance, chin up, posture straight, and eyes forward, they adjust. They begin to treat you with the respect you silently demand. You don't have to speak loudly. You don't have to prove anything. Your body does the talking. And don't underestimate how posture and eye contact affect your internal state. Science has shown that standing in a power pose, even for just 2 minutes, can increase feelings of confidence and reduce stress. It changes your hormones, your mindset, and even your decisions. Your body and mind are deeply connected. When your body aligns with strength, your mind follows. This is why posture and eye contact are not superficial tricks. They are daily disciplines. They are practices that train your nervous system to stay grounded in discomfort, to project composure even when you're uncertain, and to hold presence in a world constantly trying to distract or diminish you. It's about self-respect. When you carry yourself with dignity, you teach others to respond with the same. Think of the most powerful people you've seen, not just celebrities or leaders, but the ones who walk into a space and change the energy without saying a word. They don't fidget. They don't shrink. They don't look around for validation. They are rooted, calm, and clear. That power is not born from arrogance. It's born from self-belief, and it's expressed through posture and eye contact. So next time you walk into a room, walk in like you belong there. Not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty. Carry yourself like someone who respects themselves deeply. Hold your head high, not because you're better, but because you refuse to act small. Look people in the eyes with calm strength because you know who you are. Even if you're still becoming that person, act in alignment with your higher self. This isn't about pretending. It's about embodying. Every day you carry yourself with poise and purpose. You rewire your identity. You become more of who you were always meant to be. Posture and eye contact are not just habits. They are declarations. Declarations of strength, of self-trust, and of unshakable presence. Let the way you enter a room speak before your mouth does. Let your body show the world that you are grounded, clear, and untouchable. There's something powerful about a person who is fully aligned, when their words match their actions, when their body mirrors their beliefs, and when their energy is rooted in truth. You can feel it. They don't need to say much. Their presence speaks volumes. They walk with a quiet intensity that draws people in, not because they're trying to impress, but because they're living in integrity. Alignment is magnetic. When your energy, your body, and your purpose all move in the same direction, the world takes notice. People can sense dissonance. They can feel when someone is saying one thing but believing another. They notice when your posture says doubt, but your words pretend confidence. But when everything in you speaks the same language, your tone, your presence, your walk, your values, people listen, even if you're silent. You don't need to push. You don't need to sell yourself. Alignment does the work. This is the difference between chasing and attracting. When you're out of alignment, you chase validation. You try to convince others of your worth because deep down, you haven't owned it yourself. But when you're in alignment, you radiate certainty. You no longer beg to be seen. You become someone people naturally gravitate toward because your energy feels clean, clear, and grounded. Alignment means living in truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It means letting go of the masks, the performances, and the need to please. It means making decisions that honor your values, even if they're unpopular. It's the courage to say no when everyone expects a yes. It's standing tall in who you are, without apology. And when you live this way, you don't just gain respect, you gain peace. You no longer carry the weight of pretending. Your body plays a part in this too. When you're in alignment, your body relaxes. Your breath deepens. You move with intention. You stop rushing and start flowing. You stop bracing against life and start moving with it. People notice that. They may not be able to explain why they feel drawn to you, but they do. It's because you're whole. You're not fragmented. You're not at war with yourself. And your energy, that invisible force, is your loudest introduction. It speaks before you enter the room. It lingers after you leave. Energy doesn't lie. You can wear the nicest clothes, speak with eloquence, and have all the right credentials. But if your energy is scattered, bitter, or fake, people feel it. But when your energy is rooted in truth, peace, and clarity, you don't need to prove anything. You are the proof. Purpose is the anchor. It keeps your alignment in place. When you know why you're here, what you stand for, what you won't compromise on, it simplifies everything. Your decisions get clearer. Your boundaries get stronger. You stop wasting time on things that don't feed your mission. And that kind of focus is rare. People feel safe around it. They trust it. They admire it, even if they don't understand it. Alignment isn't perfection. It's not about getting everything right. It's about being honest with yourself, moment by moment. It's about noticing when you slip out of truth and gently coming back. It's a practice, not a destination. But the more you practice it, the more powerful you become. Not loud power, but silent, steady, undeniable power. You want to be magnetic? Don't fake confidence. Build alignment. Align your beliefs with your actions. Align your values with your behavior. Align your presence with your purpose. And watch how everything begins to shift. You won't need to shout. You won't need to chase. You'll simply be felt. And once you're felt, you're unforgettable. Live in alignment, and the world will recognize something rare in you. Not because you tried, but because you became it. Let that be your message. Let that be your magnetism. In a world that constantly demands noise, attention, and validation, your greatest strength is in your stillness. Real power doesn't beg, it commands. It doesn't shout, it radiates. When you master your energy, your posture, your alignment, and your silence, you become someone who is felt before they're heard. You stop performing and start existing with purpose. You no longer chase respect, you embody it. Let your silence speak your confidence. Let your actions declare your worth. Let your presence tell the world who you are, without saying a single word. Because when everything within you is aligned, your thoughts, your energy, your body, your purpose, you become magnetic, undeniable, and unforgettable. You don't have to explain yourself. You just have to become so whole, so grounded, so intentional, that the world recognizes your power without needing a single introduction. Be silent. Be still. Be seen.